Hello, I'm MaryAnne Eldridge. Some of you know that I loved my dad dearly, and I had so many good times with him. But you might be surprised if you knew that we were estranged for several years. I grew up in a very strict, conservative religious home, something similar to Amish. My dad was very strict, and punishment was very common in our home. When I was 14, I was baptized into that church, not because I wanted to, but because if I didn't, I would go to hell. And by the time I was 30, there was no doubt I could not stay there any longer. And when I told my dad, oh my, the conflict really started. Every time I talked to him was how bad I am, that I was going to go to hell and my children would never amount to anything. Finally, I gave my dad the ultimatum: stop it, or I will break ties with you. My final words on that last phone call were, Daddy, I gave you a warning. Now I'm hanging up. I will not communicate with you in any way until you call and apologize to me and tell me that you will not preach to me anymore. Would you believe that 7 years went by before I got that call? You would think I would have been really happy that day. I was, but I was angry, I was hurt, I was frustrated. It took me several years for that anger to subside. During that time, I even got my dad to tell me that he loved me, the first of any sibling to hear that. I was still very careful when I picked out his Father's Day card, because after all, he hadn't been the best dad forever. Round 2 came when I divorced my abusive husband and a few years later married Paris. I thought this would end our relationship again. But when I called him, instead, he compromised. He said that we were welcome to come see him as long as we slept in separate rooms. And believe it or not, we slept in separate rooms for 22 years until the day he moved out of his house. It was just another step to that peace that I wanted. The last several years, I intentionally thanked my dad for many memories. The more I thanked him, the more I realized that he did love me. When I went to pick out his Father's Day card this past June, the Holy Spirit gave me a big nudge. And he said, I heard him say, buy the real card. Let your dad know you really love him. And I did. And I can't begin to tell you the peace that I felt when I fully surrendered. The last evening I spent with my dad was in the hospital. And we prayed together. The first time ever. He laid his head on my shoulder, and his voice was so low I could barely make out his words, but I did hear him say something about being face to face with Jesus. And when we got done praying, I said, Daddy, I have a request. When you see Jesus, would you tell him I said hi? And my dad just smiled, and he said, yes, I will. And then that night was the last time I heard him say he loved me face to face. We'll never forget it. Do you have someone that you're in conflict with? Ask the Holy Spirit to guide you. He will tell you what to do. And I am here to tell you that out of that conflict can come the most peaceful peace that you will ever feel.